is out of ag res. So it shows you're permitted in your side yard, your backyard, all of that stuff. And then it comes down to your special exceptions. So I used what you had from the Plan Commission, and where it says yellow highlights, I put that in because each of you, and thank you all for sending in your information, but each of you had different ideas and wanted things added. So instead of me trying to cut and paste, I thought it was easier to do yellow highlights so you can all take a look at what the suggestions are and talk about that and see where you want to go. So the first one was located with frontage on the north-south portion of Highway 12 from Badlands Road to Hermes Road, which was a suggestion by your attorney. I did not make a minimum lot size because it's come up since that nonprofits have to be careful about the size of land they own, so they would have more than one lot in this, and so I did put a lot size in there, but you guys can discuss that. Hours of operation are set by the special exception process, which is right here on your back page. This is your special exceptions. Somebody wanted 9:30, somebody wanted 10 o'clock, somebody wants 10:30, so none of you are in agreement. But I said, C-105-33D1, it allows you to make that decision during the special exception. Then all the lighting stuff is the same as what you had from the Plan Commission. When you get down to C on the next page where it says 0.2-foot candles, someone asked for 0.1-foot candles. You're going to have to decide. I just put it there so you know. Lighting design, it came to us that this is something that you want in here for the, when we put recent publication, you do not want to have to change this ordinance every time Dark Sky changes their program. So in other words, say 2020 is in effect now and they decided to do a new one at the end of 2025, and someone comes in the interim and you approve them, they're going to be under the most current certification program that Dark Sky has. Don't put the year. The minute you do that, you're going to change this ordinance and they have to keep up on that. So that's the hard thing, is for the board to keep up on it.
The intent is it for them to have to upgrade their facility if that changes.
No, new facilities coming in would have to meet those standards.
So if you're okay when you go in, you're not conforming with Dark Sky.
Right.
Please.
So then we would just put in conformant with the 2020 publication.
Yeah, but if you do
When you approve
2020,
the special exception.
It would be at the time that it was approved.
yes. Yeah, so you don't put the
We
year
should
in there.
probably have at the end of this first sentence, just at the time of approval.
But this is what this means.
That's what that
All
means,
the
because
same
you
thing.
still have to.
Otherwise, you're going to do it after time of approval under every one of these single lines. So then back to this, maximum 70-foot light tower height, that was a suggestion by somebody on the board. Sound devices, I want to make you all aware that an amplification device is also hearing
To
aid.
hear it.
So you can't say amplification, and our sound ordinance says sound reproduction devices.
But if you look at the ordinance as a whole, it talks about, you're only in violation if you admit at a certain decibel, and if you admit at such frequencies that are irritating other people.
Right?
then It's not.
But this noise ordinance states sound reproduction devices. And the definition in there does speak to that.
But I think you're talking about a system, you're not talking that people can hear.
Right, that's what the sound reproduction device
Yeah,
is.
but that's what the definition
That's what the
is
definition
in our ordinance.
So I was trying to be consistent to what the ordinance is. You guys can discuss that. I'm not going to get into that. Then at the bottom of that page, there are additional comments by board members. Fencing, advertising, parking, gated, alcohol, parking plan. Well, the parking plan is already done in this special exception. So pretty much all of that is that way. And on the back page, you wanted earthworms and screening. This is also number 4 under special exception. So I think some of the things that you're asking for is on your special exception process, and it's not part of the exact zoning code. Then, when you come back to the front page, I put this purpose together, taking those 2 yellow paragraphs, one out of the ag res and one out of the city of New Richmond, to try to get you to some place that has a youth-oriented recreational district. So that's what I put together, just based on those 2 paragraphs. Take it, leave it, throw it away, like it, I don't Any questions?
So the way I read the sound reproduction devices, this is on our first page. In referencing to chapter 64, the only objective standard has the heading of industrial. So does that mean that it's not, the industrial decibel levels don't apply here, or do they still apply? It seems to me that they wouldn't. Specify that. What's your opinion on that?
The decimal levels in here, when I read this, only apply to the industrial district.
Okay.
So,
And you can change this ordinance, the noise ordinance, to state what you want.
Right, everything else is in 64-4.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking, it'd be nice to have something that's objective, but I don't know if that those decibel levels are the right ones.
Yeah.
I don't either, but I think, when we're looking at conditional use special exceptions, the idea is to have something that's measurable,
Yeah.
not just,
Yeah.
people vary in what they think is objectionable in terms of noise.
Tolerable and stuff like that, yeah.
I live a couple miles from 94, and I go out in the evening and I can hear the road, and I think, God, I don't think I'd have to hear that thing, but I do.
And the decibels are itemized here in 64-4E2 in your noise ordinance. They're in there. 64-4E2.
E2?
Says noise produced by other activities on properties within any zoning district shall not exceed 65 dBA during the hours of 8 to 6 and 45 from 6 to 8.
And I don't know.
Unless otherwise it's permitted at 64-7, which is exceptions.
Yeah, there we go, yeah, okay.
And exceptions are things like, snowmobiles and motor vehicles and wild animals and all that stuff,
Okay, yeah, that doesn't work numbers.
I guess you're gonna have to, you're gonna want to say where you're measuring that from.
I was gonna say, Brian, when he would worry about that 45, he always said from the lot line. Where does it say that in there? Because we went over to Norflex, he measured both at the site where the sound came on, and then he went to the lot line
Yeah, that makes more sense.
to measure what it was at the lot line.
Typically, we see it a lot, it doesn't matter how long it is on the
Right.
road, we have no use it.
Right.
Okay.
But whether that's the right number, I don't know.
Okay.
It's pretty low.
It is, it's pretty low. And ironically, that was a noisy operation over at Norflex. And it passed the noise ordinance at the lot line. It was 70 decibels at the machine and 40 on the lot line.
Yeah.
And the guy that lived up on the hill still was complaining to the south of it. It was weird to stand out of his deck and there's trees all in front of him, and you could hear this whistling high-pitched noise. It was just objectionable, but they didn't violate the noise ordinance.
Well, that's why you want a standard.
Yeah.
It has to do a little bit with just the geography.
That's like somebody can hear on 94.
It says right here, testing location takes into consideration the positioning of any type of windscreen so that an accurate and realistic testing of noise may be taken.
So I
So if
think
there's a berm, you can't take it from behind the berm, right? You gotta take it where it's right.
And typically, you see it's at the lot.
yeah. But I think you should start from here and just move your way through the ordinance so you don't skip around so much. I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Because if you can decide on things, you can move on.
Is the board okay with that?
Yes,
I think page 1 is good.
I agree.
Page 1 isn't good because you don't have to state the purpose to cite it.
Yeah, we haven't done
There's a
I
picture there.
think that description is fine.
You like this statement of purpose that combines the two?
Well,
I think the statement of purpose is good, that kind of, it's both wrapped up into one.
Because you don't want to make everyone in that section non-conforming.
Right.
Because that means every house, the church, the farming, everything will be non-conforming.
So Rachel's okay with the statement of purpose, Dan, you are?
Well, just,
You're talking about the separate one?
Yeah, the separate one.
so we're not, and maybe I'm misjudging, but you're not gonna take that whole section and rezone everything from badlands to the north.
No, we're just gonna
This
have
is
where
only
it's,
for the people that want.
Correct.
rezone.
this is
So
a district.
if they're ag res now, and we don't really apply for this,
Right,
they're still ag
right,
res.
right.
So just by doing this, I don't want people to get upset
Right.
and worried that they're all of a sudden gonna be non-conforming.
No. But this makes another layer of that, sure.
It helps.
It's no different than if they want to come in and zone commercial. They're allowed to under the
What
plan.
do you think of it, Ken?
I think that's separate one.
What do you think?
That makes sense.
I see where the city of Richmond and hockey rinks and golf facilities is important. I don't see that for the town of Hudson, but I do see the potential for soccer facilities and lacrosse facilities, probably more than hockey rinks.
Well, you better think again, because there's that new hockey system out there right now that uses 0 water.
But you can put it in there,
I have someone that wants to build one in the town of St. Joe.
really.
0 water, it's an artificial surface.
I like it, because if this is gonna be for the youth, it's gonna be for the youth. And any of those purposes, I mean, if there's.
So
one
it has
is
to
just as
ball
good as
fields
the
and
other.
soccer fields, lacrosse fields, and
Yes.
similar uses?
No,
Yes.
If they
ball
can meet
fields are
the
ball fields.
conditions.
It doesn't matter what the ball is.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I,
Ball fields are ball fields. You don't have to enumerate which ball you're using.
Okay,
right, that's what I was
I'd
gonna say.
take golf facilities, I would think big enough for golf facilities.
How do you know that?
if they're 20 acres,
An indoor drive.
What about
Driving
those
range.
outdoor driving range? What about that big one that's down by Madison that's a, triple level?
Yeah, that's not for youth.
That's not for youth.
I know that's not, but I'm just saying, how do you know somebody doesn't want to build a mini golf course?
it could be for youth. I mean, a lot of you play golf.
Fine, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly, it doesn't, I think we
I'm
should
okay
include
with
all
it.
these things.
I just want to get through it.
That second sentence, though, is that, it looks like you've got two verbs. So, district also allows, and then it has the list of uses, and then limited residential uses may be located here, so.
That's right out of your.
That's what's on the ordinance on page 1 right now, right here.
Right on your
That's
address.
Okay, you don't have a comma after uses that unlimited before unlimited residential.
Yes, there is, so I will put that in there.
Okay, that'll tell that.
All right, I will do that. I'm sorry, I did forget that. And there was this, I need a comma. I did. Yeah, that's right out of the ordinance.
Okay.
I didn't make that up.
Okay. You going on that?
Yeah, right here.
So section G,
1A1.
1A1, it did not make a minimum lot sizes, nonprofits can only own a set amount of land. Well, obviously, they need a set amount of land to be able to do something like this.
No, we were doing that to say that anything less, when Paul first announced it, was because they were looking at buying 21 acres. By not putting any acreage on it, you're not limiting what they can do.
Well, I thought we were gonna say a minimum lot size of 20 acres.
We were, originally. The state of Wisconsin said they can't have, just for your knowledge, anything larger than 6 acres would be nonprofit.
They got
Yes, ma'am.
separate lots.
That's the state
They all
of
have to be
Wisconsin.
separate lots?
That otherwise they gotta be a for-profit organization, so that's their problem. We shouldn't have put 20 acres on there, it's because they happen to have 20 today. You know,
That's for the tax exemption.
Well,
Yeah.
that could come down to the problem for us, but as long as
And we did clarify the north-south part of 12, not the east-west.
I thank you, I saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest.
yeah.
2,
Yeah, well,
hours of operation, I agree, is something you do in a special exception. We do that often in special exceptions. Whatever the organization is.
and it's number 1 in your special exception.
Right.
10533, it's number 1, first thing you look at.
And you want to sit down with what organization is in there and talk with the board when you're doing your special exception about what are we willing to
Well, if it's
accept.
indoor, it might
Yeah.
be different than
Right.
outdoor, so your hours of operation could be different.
Good point, Vicki.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm okay with that.
move it to special exception.
Now, Tim, you had mentioned that the light, dark sky lighting that, was in the presentation was .1.
You asked what it was, and it is, it's .1 today. When that, they knew that at the planning commission when they discussed it, and they still want to leave it at .2.
I say we go with the best technology we have today and say .1.
Okay.
It's the least disruptive to the people around.
Okay, I'm
And if
okay
they
with
say it's
that.
adequate?
I just want to remind you that your planning, and they talked about it at the planning commission and decided to leave it at
They also don't have to
No, they knew it was.
deal with the backlash from.
That's
Yeah,
true,
the
that's true.
community, yeah, they do, they're the ones that go out to enforce the zoning.
I think
So
that
you want to leave it .1?
Point 1,
I want .1.
I'm okay with point one because I think.
I am too, I just wanted to know why that was .1. E. I like the idea of leaving it up to whatever the current certification is when they come in for their special exception. I like that.
So is dark sky trademark, is it a company, or what is that?
It is, and I think that there was, in my notes that I sent in, there's an ANSI code though, and a lighting engineer code, but, you know, you have to pay $120 to get it, so I don't know if it matches directly dark sky or not, but I think
Maybe we should ask Eric, maybe we have some of that
yeah.
stuff with SEH.
What did Eric put in it when he did the last?
I have the old one with.
I thought it was an overall term, dark sky lighting. It's a new
It
kind of light
is,
called
but
dark
Eric
sky.
didn't put dark sky, I don't believe in, he put a red line.
It's actually a group.
But,
It's called Dark Sky International. So it's actually a group.
Yeah, there's a group that will certify it.
That's what
Right.
it
Their
is.
standards.
That's why I put the name in
I think
italics,
that's-
is because that's their name in italics.
Well, if we have .1 max allowable foot candles, any lighting that can meet those specifications should be allowed.
Lighting designed to adhere to the, lighting designed to adhere to the requirements as noted in the dark sky approved outdoor sports lighting program's most recent publication.
that's what Eric had.
That's what they had, that's what we had, and board members wanted 2020 on there instead of most recent.
Okay.
That's okay, with that certification, I think that's,
That was an add-on.
yeah.
Because I think you're talking a little bit two different things. I mean, the dark sky is visibility not just from the neighbor, it's from the general area as well, versus just the neighbor. So I think they're both good.
So we'll leave the one that's there.
Maybe delete the highlighted one,
Not the highlight,
Not that I did.
not highlighted at all.
No highlight stays.
Take that out, just because we'd have to change the ordinance every time the dark
Yeah.
sky
yeah,
changes.
so we're taking out the highlight.
Yes.
Yes, we're taking out the highlighted,
So,
correct?
there, okay, you can be in black and white.
Yep. maximum 70-foot light tower height. Was there any reason why that was put?
People ask for it, so I
Some people ask for it.
The gentleman that did the presentation, how tall were their examples? Does anybody know?
I seen 70.
70, 70.
60
we're
and
also-
70.
I'm okay with 70.
But why do we want that in there?
Do you want it in here, or do you want it in the special exceptions under number 8, location of docks, piers, other structures, signs, etc.?
That might be a better spot.
Yeah, different board members.
And your standards are supposed to be measurable, not just what people feel. So more measurable, the better.
So everybody agrees to leave it in?
Yeah,
I agree.
said, I don't know, if that's like a minimum, that's something.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I wish.
They were almost all 60, and there was like 370 or something.
Do you want me to bring the plan back out to you?
Okay, you mean the plans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, so essentially, in the plans, they had 60 or 70.
the only question that I have is, it's like the certification, the plan currently has 70-foot, 60 and 70-foot high towers and lights. Why wouldn't you worry about that when whatever organization is coming in and apply that, what you're willing to accept in a special exception rather than
As Paul just said, do you want to
you
quantify it?
want a specific number?
Yeah, this maximum, we could require less, but maximum that's the max.
So that's okay.
Everybody said yes.
I think it's okay.
So I'll read you what the chapter 64 says. Sound reproduction device is any electronic or electrical device that is used for the production of sound, including but not limited to any loudspeaker, radio, television, tape recorder, phonograph, or any other sound amplifying equipment. That's what it says.
That's your definition.
So that's why I put it in here just like that, that it would conform to this chapter 64.
I think that's perfect.
Okay.
And that definition's there, so there shouldn't be any problem as to what you're talking about.
Yeah, because when I was reading the noise ordinance, I'm like, well, there's our definition right there, so I made her change it to that instead of the other.
What everybody needs to understand is what caused the noise ordinance. Most people probably think it was a rod and gun club, and it was not. It was kids doing mini bike riding on lots near neighbors, and they gonna go up the hill, and the neighbors in their patio area couldn't hear to go out and enjoy their patio area. And that's what caused that to happen, you know what I mean, several years back. And I just wanted you to know that. It's not anything to do with lawnmowers or anything like that, but so we had quite a discussion at those people's homes when we finally implemented that.
It's good to, if any factories or anything come in the future, it's good to have it there.
And we used it with Norflex,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so it's not a bad thing.
We use it in four-wheelers too.
Yeah, we used it on board roads too.
Yeah.
So area to be fenced in, I think that's a must, especially if you're dealing with flying baseballs,
But I
etc.
want to leave it in the special exception. Not in the ordinance.
Because
Okay, so if it's a building, it's not.
So
But,
But baseball fields are.
You would determine that at the time you're doing your special exception with that organization.
But also when you say fenced, are you talking the entire property? Because if you're gonna do this at the time of the special exception, then you'll determine what part of that property is fenced.
I think just the fields are to be fenced.
Well, and that's why you.
Well, that's not what
Special
came
exception.
down.
That's not what that says,
That's not what
though.
this says.
so get rid of one,
Well,
It's not moving, it's just going. 'Cause you're gonna
just
do it
going,
as a
because it's
special
already part of
yeah.
back here.
What are we seeing here?
Here,
We're
this
gonna-
first
we'll-
one.
it will become part of our
Yeah.
number one in special exceptions.
No,
No, it's part
It's
of
part of-
8
eight,
structures.
Structural safety.
Advertising and signage and fence, I'm okay with leaving that with special exception, because each case is gonna be different.
You're going to have a potential First Amendment challenge.
correct.
That's right, you will.
That's right.
Big time.
Well, with that, I agree with the exterior, like from the highway,
Well, that'll be during your special exception, but again, you have to be careful with,
but not the interior. I mean,
First
That's
Amendment.
part of baseball, that's part of raising money for the programs.
That's, you go down to River Falls and those.
That's part of the money raising, right? the
But
fundraising.
like if they have sponsors, they would put a sponsor, so sign on the fence. I don't know.
This is part of it, that's a part of baseball.
Yeah. Look at Target Field for crying out loud.
So that's special exception.
yeah,
Does everybody agree?
Which one?
two.
Too.
Two.
Two.
Yeah.
So three's gotta go too.
So is there a parking standard for,
No,
do we want this into?
it's commercial and industrial.
Yeah. And we can put parking standards in there, we can talk about that, but it can't be.
Part of the site
This
plan,
is,
though, you
they
have-
want to have, this comment was made that they want the parking fenced. I believe that has to go to your special exception, because you may have an area where someone builds a building where you're going to require everybody to have a fenced area for parking, no matter who they are. When a commercial goes in there, you're not requiring them to have fenced
And I
parking.
don't understand really the fence parking.
I don't either.
This is what came.
I don't see the premise.
I would get rid of that one myself.
And to be honest with you, that's a discussion that you definitely want to have with the organization. As an example, when baseball is occurring, the difficulty you have is if they have 5 fields, you have 10 teams there, and at the time of the turnover in the fields, you've now got 20 teams there. The parking needs to be adequate to be able to support that. So that's a
different than
discussion
fencing it.
that you have to have.
Wait a minute, that's different than fencing it.
I know, no, but the discussion of parking is something.
Will be parking on town roads.
Yeah, you need.
But we
There
need
are no
to,
town
There's
roads,
no town roads.
so they have to park on their land.
no roads above that.
It's on Highway 12, they gotta have frontage on Highway 12.
Yeah, but I mean, like out by the
They
church
got a
and
road
stuff,
down the road, they got a
if
road
they
down
have to
the end
walk.
from the north. Yeah, they do.
What?
That's how they get in there. And eventually they will, but it ain't today. They'll come
Oh, they're
off the Class C
driving.
line.
Well,
Well, the new road,
The new road.
well, it's not a road at this point, it's a driveway access. It's driveway access, it's written, Will Savage wrote it into the deed on that lot. It's not a road.
I don't think we need to keep parking within fencing area only.
No, that would be in a special exception.
Yeah, well, I don't think we need to go all.
Well, I think we do want to talk about.
Well, we
special exception.
need to talk
Because if they're
about
gonna have
parking.
tournaments, how do they handle that?
Parking.
Yeah, I mean, but that would
Whether you're
come.
gonna handle
It's right here.
special exception.
Number 9 is parking.
The thing on this, the person suggested this is because they want fencing around the entire property.
I agree.
Well, that's what she's saying, is that she doesn't feel that that's a need. It's a whole different issue.
Right.
So then gated or locked, I brought this up to you because
Postseason.
it's one thing post-season, but that's not what this was. This one was suggested that it be gated and locked every night. That's an issue for your fire and rescue. And that's a hard one to do, and it's gonna be up to more so the people who are gonna put things in here, because they have a problem if something starts on fire, how fast fire and rescue's gonna get in there when they have to break the gate down to get in there.
You can require them to have a Knox box.
And they can require that, but, you know, there's a whole lot that goes with that too. It's
Yeah.
not,
But
it's not a 2-second thing.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody's gotta jump out, you know?
If we're not gonna necessarily require it to be fenced in, then how are we gonna require it to be gated and locked?
Right.
So I think we should strike that one.
I agree. Five, no alcohol sales or use. That's part of the special exception.
Right.
Well, is that not even part of that? They have to apply for another
They have to
liquor
apply, you
license.
can determine yes or no. Anyone at any time, at anywhere can apply for a license, you know,
And
I
it's
think
just-
we should just say no alcohol sales. People are gonna sneak booze in. We can't control that. We can't police that. We can't enforce that. I mean, if they bring a cooler of soda and have a couple beers in there, we're not gonna go out and check the coolers. I think we just said no alcohol for sale, period.
But you can't have a liquor permit.
No alcohol for sale. They
Why
don't,
did you say
they don't,
that? They can't get a liquor license. Why do you need to say that if they can't get a liquor license?
I think we should just
So
specialize.
why?
Well, as part of a special exception, just safety, have it in there, so it covers our butts, and it says no alcohol for sale.
And if you're talking about a youth-oriented district for sports, I think it would be appropriate to just say no alcohol sales.
Okay.
Maybe you put that up above there.
Yeah, that has to be on the road.
So you put it in,
In the ordinance, not in the special exception, in the ordinance is what Paul's saying.
So it's number 8.
okay. Parking plan to be addressed as an overflow parking lots. That's in the special exception, right?
Right.
No,
It's number 9 on the special exception.
And then I think, you know, in this ordinance, someplace we reference back to the special exception ordinance, so when we read it, we realize that it's not just this, it's also this.
well.
It is, it's right here, number 1. As provided in 10533.
G1, it says it.
Yep. And that's all I'm saying, just make sure that reference stays in
Yep,
there.
it's there. I did not take that out.
No.
And then the last one that was asked for is in D4.
I think that's reasonable too. We go through that with
Right, but
a lot of
it's in number 4 down below there.
So it's part
the, are you
of-
talking about number 7?
Yes,
Just look further down.
Site
Number
plan
4.
approval?
it's right here in D4.
Landscaping and planning screen.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of do that already.
Delivers it.
Because it's part of.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of already in the ordinance, isn't it?
Yes.
And you guys are okay with youth-oriented recreational district?
Yes, I
And
am.
somebody else called it an outdoor recreation facilities district. That's why that says it up there.
Everybody had a different name for it, so.
So as long as you're good, that's what we call the
See,
first
see how it's named at the
youth-oriented.
top?
Yeah, because if you don't keep it youth-oriented, then I think you open yourself up for bar leagues to come in and just trouble. I don't mean to say it that way, but although I know people drink when where they're not supposed to. I mean, I've been guilty of it before. But, I I think we should keep it youth oriented.
All right. So you want me to bring this back as a clean copy to you for your next meeting next Monday?
Yes.
And then
Think about it if you've got some thoughts.
Yeah, and if there's anything else, send them as soon as you can. Don't wait until Monday, because it's election time and we have.
So send us over, the edited version.
Yes, correct.
Email.
a clean version. Yeah. Okay, Martina, I'll do that tomorrow.
We have two person actually to vote next Monday, so don't wait until Monday to send them over. A lot of today, because we're not gonna have time.
So the way I read is with Burmese Road, so it can't be, it's just on the north south, I guess, so there's no possibility on the north side.
Well, it's gonna be on the right. Unless you want.
I don't know what's available.
Well, the advantage of making Hermes Road, my discussion this morning was with him, if you just go to 12, 12 goes to the east all the way to the town line. So you don't want to get to 12, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the reason for using Hermes Road as an example.
No, this is going to say north-south.
That's the reason for the north, that's what I was struggling with.
Yes.
North-south portion, that's what I said. And somebody else asked, and I said, no, it's only the north-south portion of Highway 12.
From there to there.
So I think it's fair to say we can cancel our working sessions except for next Monday, correct?
No,
We'll cancel
we're gonna
them after
go back
Monday.
after-
If it
next
all,
Monday.
Because if you can all.
depends, right? You still all gotta agree and get it through, so.
Because then you can send it, this goes back to like.
Has to go back to plan commission.
It was a lot easier. Thank you guys for doing that.
Well, it's hard when everybody wants.
It's Monday,
that's
so
why I tried to do it.
I can have Amanda put it on.
Oh,
Yeah, I can have Amanda put it on the agenda. We haven't closed the agenda yet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for putting it all together.
Just in case I was.
It's not my first go around.
I know it's not, Teresa.
No, we sending it back to plan commission first, then it's coming back to,
Then you have to have a public hearing.
then you have to have a public hearing, then you have to have,
So you got a process here.
Okay.
Has to go back to county.
You need a class 2.
I
Yeah.
know, it's always class 2.
Yeah.
I would recommend for our public hearing that we have the head come and give a brief, much briefer, much more brief explanation of the lighting and the sound and pictures of what it would look like.
That's part of the special exception, though, not part of the ordinance, because everything is different.
But can't we have him present at the town hall? Because I think people are afraid, but they didn't see that briefing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys kicked the sleeping dog. I've heard from everybody under the sun from the soccer association.
Well, and that's why it's a good thing not to let people only in the town of Hudson should be able to speak at a town of Hudson meeting.
These were
This
all
is our
town
town.
people, including the president of the soccer association.
Well, that's fine. If he's in our town,
You
that's
can't,
fine.
you can't limit it to residents only.
You
A
can't.
lot of places do.
No, landowners are allowed to speak also, even if. they're-
Well,
because
then
it's
they
in
have,
town.
if they have land in the town of Hudson,
That's not a
yes.
resident.
Oh, okay.
And there's a
Landowners
difference
in the
between
town of
a
Hudson.
public hearing
Yes,
and public comment.
right.
Public hearings open anyway. Public comment, you can put some limitations.
Right, but public hearings are open, you can't stop someone from speaking to it. And you have to be careful, because everyone wants to say resident, but you have people in this town that own land here that don't live here.
Right, right.
And if their land is next door to something that you're talking about, you can't prevent them from speaking just because they're not a resident.
Great. You caught me on a technicality.
Well, that's a big one.
Even public comment, anybody can speak.
Yep, it's a free country.
I don't know why everyone got so up in arms that we let, I forget his name, speak first, but whatever. It's such a,
I've never been
I don't
to
know.
a town, city, village, or board meeting. Try to go to the city of Hudson and not be a resident, and speak during public comment or St. Croix Falls or anywhere. You have to be a resident of the town to speak.
St. Croix
It
County,
doesn't necessarily mean that's correct.
St. Croix County.
That might be what they're doing.
River Falls is
They do
people
it.
speaking from the town all the time.
Yeah. St. Croix County does not restrict you, they don't ask you where you're from.
It's
or
public
anything.
comment, you're not going back and forth with them.
Yeah, so
They just get up and
So
say what
North
it is.
Hudson dealt with this, and they started out, first, only residents. Well, then it was pointed out that, well, there's businesses in
Right.
Carthage, and they don't live there, and there's landowners that don't live there. So now theirs is resident, landowner, or business owner. Public comment.
Well, yeah, you have to have some stake in the town.
Yep.
You can't come from, you know, Baldwin and speak at a Hudson Town Board meeting because you don't
Why not?
have, you don't have property or you,
So,
this is for our town residents.
so,
Well, I don't agree. I go to a lot of these meetings and they usually don't allow you to speak. Unless you're-
Residents have a wait, you know.
non-residents wait, I agree.
Yeah, I always take residents, landowners, and business owners ahead of anyone else. They're the last ones, I learned my lesson.
All right, are we good?
Yeah, we'll get it sent over tomorrow.
All right, thanks,
Yeah, check it
guys.
out.
Thank you very much.
No problem. My first order of service review.
One comment on kind of light standards is if we dictate the height, we may, not that we will, we may not be able to meet dark sky standards. The luminaries are very directional, so in order to make that cutoff, they have to be aimed down at a certain point. So depending on the size of the field, like I believe the large field would fit baseball, I think was 80 feet. They have to be up high enough to aim down. If you drop them down and you tilt the luminary out,
Then they're too far out.
you're gonna get light filtering beyond the boundary.
Okay,
I'll
So-
let them discuss that next time, please.
Is there a dark sky facility around us anywhere?
What's that?
Is there a
Still
facility?
better.
Is there one in Stillwater?
Eau Claire, I believe, is having her certified.
Who is?
Eau
What about
Claire.
you?
Yeah. Still on their trails are dark side.
What about you, Doug? River Falls?
No, not even the high schools are. It's not.
What about City of New Richmond on their trails? Is that dark sky?
I believe their trails are, because that's where the lady.
You know,
Because that's where the lady.
I can ask Greg where the closest one is actually certified or has gone through the process because you have to go to dark sky in the planning process. They have to be part of the planning,
Yeah.
so they can to make sure everything's going to fit their
Certified,
standards.
Yeah.
But I can ask them where the closest one is, and I believe it's in Eau Claire. The picture that I had was Wanakee, which is down by Madison.
Your daughter.
Check out Stillwater.
But I also thought the
I can
city
see
of their
Stillwater.
trail is that, because somebody hit a deer on that trail on a bicycle, and she said she never saw the thing until it was on the trail.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same luminaries that are at
Yeah.
they're just, the engineers make sure everything is the right height, the right standard, the right aiming point, to make sure that you get that cutoff.
so you're saying you need 80
What
foot?
F
Or
should,
maybe you don't
what
believe
F
it.
should say.
I kind of equate it to this, I would say, like, I never tell the airline pilot that I'm flying to Tucson how to fly, let them handle it. So I would say, if we were to say, the lowest light standard, the lowest
Heights
height possible to meet dark sky standards.
Okay,
Maximum.
can we change it to that,
Dark
Teresa, so we don't
sky
have to go back and
standards.
forth?
Do you guys all agree with that?
Yeah.
I can change it to that. All right.
Okay, that's a standard, okay. Well,
That's a
All
standard.
right, well, then we'll change that before we send it over.
And I'll find out from Greg where the closest, I guess, certified engineered ones are.
All right, sounds good.
I have a stupid question. Do you want to present it as special at the public hearing?
You're not there yet.
No, but if we get, you know what I mean, just because there seems to be so much.
I think you could put
A lot
information
of
out
people
there
are
that